It's been a few days since Raya and the Last Dragon dropped, both in germy, disgusting, COVID-infested theaters and the sanitized comfort of our living rooms. Here at On the Run Productions, we pride ourselves on delivering the best, most accurate media reviews. And as a result, we have sacrificed 30 of our own dollars to buy this film legit from Disney Plus in order to tell you whether you should watch this movie or not. But first, what is Raya and the Last Dragon anyway? Well, Raya occupies an interesting place in the new Disney canon. First, Raya is an action movie. The last Disney animated action movie was Big Hero 6 in 2014. Before that, the last action movie was Treasure Planet in 2002. So this is a rare genre for Disney to dip its toe in for anything that doesn't have the words Marvel, Star, or Wars on the cover. Further, this is the next Disney princess movie, of which I don't think any of them can really be considered action movies. But that's enough of the labels and the fancy dates. Raya is about the princess of a fictionalized Southeast Asian nation, Kumandra, who is going on a journey to gather the 7 Dragon Ball. Got confused for a second. She's trying to gather the 6 Infinity Stones to bring back. What the heck wrote the script? Okay, I think I got it. She's trying to gather the 5 pieces of an ancient artifact birthed from the extinct dragon race. This orb is capable of warding off the darkness, and Raya intends to use it to restore the land to its former glory, freeing those people who have been trapped in stasis for the past 6 years. Now, there's a question. This question is on all our minds. I know you're all thinking of this question. The question on our minds about this movie. A question about it. This movie. What is that question, you may wonder? Well, you don't have to. Wonder, I mean. I know you're thinking it. We all are. It's the question on all our minds. That question is on all our minds. Is Raya better than Tangled? Find out at the end of this review. Yeah, you already know. The animation in Raya is beautiful. There is a distinct feel to it. It's grounded, yet saturated and picturesque. Each set piece has its own color motifs, and as a result, the viewer always knows when they are in a new place. Further, this film is one of Disney's more eclectic works in terms of visual style. The comic and manga influences are definitely there. This goes together very well with the action, which is truly some of the best action Disney has put to film in a long time. The fights are dynamic, and the choreography is inventive. This movie always manages to surprise you with what the characters do next on a moment-to-moment level, which keeps the action fresh. That said, it is with a heavy heart I must report to you that this is one of the only parts of this movie that I consider fresh. The rest is very, well... The story of Raya is quite simple, but also kinda not. It's set in a nation of 5 disputing factions. The story is kicked off when Raya's father, the keeper of the Guardian Dragon Gem and the chief of Heart, invites the 4 other factions over to smooth relations. But Raya's naivete leads to her trusting a member of Fang, Namari, which leads to an attempt to steal the orb, resulting in it getting shattered. Darkness reigns from here on. 6 dystopian years later, Raya is a lone warrior, traveling across the land, searching for a way to summon the last dragon, hoping this dragon can recreate the orb and remedy Raya's mistake. She is able to summon the last dragon, Sisu, but 1, Sisu is a socially awkward goofball, and 2, this dragon cannot recreate the orb unless she has all of the other 4 pieces. So, Raya and Sisu go off together to the other 4 lands in order to get all the pieces back and bring balance to the world. If that sounded like a lot of exposition, that's because it sorta is. Firstly, the beginning section of this movie is 100% flashback. This lasts exactly 20 minutes, meaning 1/5 of the film is setting up for the exposition. There's another 10 minutes from then to when Raya meets Sisu, so 1/3 of the way into the film is when our adventure begins. In layman's terms, there are two different yet equally important sets of exposition the viewer needs to go through before the actual content of the movie starts. This feels kinda unfocused. I think it might have been tighter if it began in medias res, and there were shorter flashbacks spaced intermittently to explain why things are the way they are. Fortunately, the film's structure definitely levels off around the midpoint. But this only brings me to my second critique. Raya has an extremely similar plot structure to a role-playing video game. It's about traveling from one distinct locale to another, encountering unique challenges and obstacles along the way, collecting numerous MacGuffins for an overarching goal. Her dragon buddy gets quote-unquote upgrades every time they collect a new Jolly Rancher colored gem, and there are several quote-unquote boss battles. Now, I love video games, don't get me wrong. As well, there is nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned MacGuffin hunt in a movie, but it feels really manufactured. The movie kinda has this feel of a lot of checklists. A lot of really pretty checklists, no doubt, but checklists. That said, the most game-like aspects of Raya are the colorful JRPG party members she encounters with particular sets of skills. They join Raya on her quest, but besides a couple, the characters are some of the weaker parts of the story. I wanted to like Raya herself, like a lot. I really did. But in my humble opinion, she gets an eh. As far as other Disney princesses go in the last 20 years, Raya is not the most captivating. On one hand, yes, she can box, true. I'd let her kill me. The thing is, the lesson Raya learns is definitely one of the most telegraphed lessons I've yet seen in a Disney movie. You already know from the beginning what this lesson is going to be, about trusting people. Now, there's nothing wrong with this lesson, and yeah, it's for kids, but Tangle. But learning this moral is basically Raya's entire character. Once you glimpse that ending, it feels like you're just waiting. And then she learns it. Then it's over. Like, that's it? Is there anything else? Sisu is not much better. Now, I don't really know much about Awkwafina. I'm sure she's an alright gal. But I am once again reminded of the heckscape we live in, where every big budget Western animated movie must have a celebrity voicing a main character rather than just, well, voice actors. What was supposed to come off as funny really came off at worst as cringe, and at best, meh. I'll admit, Sisu's backstory was genuinely moving, but they cannot trick me. I cannot unsee that Sisu fits all the hallmarks of the talking animal comic relief trope. This trope is everywhere, and I am angry. The rest of the JRPG party members are some of the more captivating characters, particularly the fast-talking salesman Boone, and the hardy axe-toting warrior chief Tong, who feels like an alternate reality Shan Yu, from Mulan. They represent people who have lost something as a result of the darkness across the land, and they make this world feel real. Problem is, there are just so many of them, and they all arrive so late in the movie, we don't have enough time to get to know them and further Raya and Namari's own arcs. Which brings us to the one exception to these paper-thin individuals, Namari, Raya's nemesis. Namari's backstabbing of Raya is what kicked off the plot, and 6 years later, she's now just as hardened a warrior as Raya, if not more so. I'd let her kill me. She is easily the most complex character in this movie, and she's the one who goes through the most growth. The only difference is she doesn't have the privilege of a talking animal sidekick to be her conscience, and she has to make these decisions herself. It's no accident that Namari is the one who is the key to fixing the situation in the first place, as a catalyst for allowing Raya to begin to trust others. If this film were told from Namari's perspective, I might like this a lot more than I do now. Also, real quick, I really like Raya's dad, like a bunch. He seems pretty dang cool, and I'm upset that he had to be doomed in order for the story to work. Now, when a human is corrupted by the Blight, their petrified corpse is always seen with hands in a prayer position. When we first saw that, we thought some magical property of the Blight compels people to do this. But eventually it's implied that the people just do it on their own, unexpectedly uniformly, in the face of near certain death. Whichever one is true, that is pretty interesting flavor either way. I like it. Now, I'm sorry, but in this otherwise fairly grounded kung fu adventure movie, Sisu looks too much like an MLP character. It's those eyes, the flat snout. I'm sure they could have done something to make her appear a bit more grounded instead of just Disney-fying her into oblivion. There were some hip-hop music influences in Talon. I was not expecting that. Well, now we return to that question. That age-old question on all our minds. Is Raya and the Last Dragon better than Tangled? No. But on the other hand, no Disney movie in the past 20 years has been better than Tangled. And that includes the Marvel movies. Is Raya and the Last Dragon good? Sure, I had fun. I enjoyed myself. The fight scenes were good. The lighting was good. These dangerous ladies are really cool. But I feel the good qualities of these more superficial aspects of the film will only delay what I predict will happen in the near future. People probably aren't going to remember Raya very much, except as possibly the one Disney movie that came out in a pandemic, which Disney enticed us to pay $30 for access to. Which brings us to our final question. Was Raya and the Last Dragon worth $30? No. If Soul was not worth $30 to Disney, Pixar's Soul, then it is my humble opinion that Raya is not worth $30 to you, the consumer who is already paying for Disney+. Admittedly, even if Raya had absolutely been the bee's knees, I would still immensely dislike the notion of paying an extra $30 for the privilege of watching it on top of paying for the streaming service itself, and the precedent this sets in the media industry. Which brings us to the final question. Should you watch Raya? I'd say, sure. If you like, say, Mulan, or The Dragon Prince, or the Final Fantasy series, you'd probably enjoy Raya. If you're a fan of kung fu movies, you probably like it as well. If you're looking for something that will truly break the mold though, well, Raya just isn't it. I'd wait until it's available for all the paying customers on Disney+, or just bum it off somebody dumb enough to shell out $30 for early access. Alternatively, you could try pirating. But that's just my opinion. Do you think I'm right? Do you disagree with my assessment of any aspect of this movie? Think I'm being too mean? Or too nice? Good. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts. I'll probably respond to them if you ask nicely. Until next time, we're on the run. Catch y'all later.